Hello, everybody. Welcome to season 3, Knightspeed, episode
Oh,
3.
three, right? Yeah.
We have, I guess, a little bit of talk about our last game we had on Thursday with good old-fashioned New Hampshire, and then going into Sam Houston State.
Right.
But they're the New Hampshire Wildcats, correct?
Yes. Yes, they're the Wildcats of New Hampshire.
What is Sam Houston State?
I'll
Cowboys,
look at my notes here real quick, but they're in Huntsville, Texas.
wherever that is.
Yeah, I don't know. And they're the Hughes or the Bearkats. Bearkats.
Cat, okay.
Bearkats with a K.
So do we have two Bearcats in the conference? No, I guess that's so. If we play our second, we'll play our first of two Bearcats.
First of two Bearcats. Yeah. Cincinnati, I think, are the original Bearcats, and they're C Cats.
Yes.
Sam Houston is the K Cats.
So yes, and they are Sunbelt,
No, they are Conference USA.
Conference USA. Okay.
Yes, they are. I mean, I guess you want to quickly go over bright spots against New Hampshire, low
Yeah.
spots, all that, kind of get that out of the way. You
Yes.
know, since we are on our last night of festive holiday weekend,
Yes.
say you about your first glimpse at UCF for the 2024 season.
I gotta say, what I really liked about UCF this past on Thursday night is I thought they started very slow, and I was very should I say bewildered with our start because I was expecting a big win, a big win that we got, but
Right.
when we struggled, I guess our first two drives were what, two field goals, and we were up 6-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Yeah.
And again, we had
Yeah.
no passing game to speak of. And then you look at everything kind of opened up after RJ Harvey got that big run down the side to the 1 yard line, the one where he fumbled, and that was recovered by number 5. So after that run, then it seemed to kind of open up. I still think
Brady
KJ
Pittman.
Jefferson has a lot to. He's got a lot of work to do to
Who's this?
KJ Jefferson.
KJ, yeah, I think he was the what everybody was kind of complaining about was KJ, and I guess his kind of he started slow. He looked a little rusty out there.
Yes.
I think there are people a little bit more harsher saying he can't play, which I think is crazy. He's a guy who probably hadn't got hit since last football season. He didn't
Yeah.
get touched during spring. He didn't get touched during all of fall camp. His first live action to where he was able to get hit was Thursday night.
Yeah.
So,
And you think about 3 scrimmages probably really doesn't get you game ready.
especially when they're not touching you.
Yeah, and that's it because you're right. He has a no contact jersey on, so anybody, if you touch him, he's down.
I mean, I think people were a little kind of well, I was, there at the game. I was a little concerned when I'm watching him miss wide open passes.
Yes.
Once was to Pittman, where Pittman had the corner beat. He's going down, down the middle of the field there, or not really the middle of the field, kind of the seam of the field, in between the sideline and the middle of the field. And that's a pitch and catch throw. That's and especially as wide open as he was.
Yes.
And he kind of lofts it up to him, which then kind of gets broken up by, I think, the safety. It's like, you're better than that, KJ. I know you can throw that pass. I've seen you throw that pass. And, that was concern one. And then that awful interception that he threw going to Xavier Townsend. They just threw it right to the defender.
Yeah, I agree.
That's when you can kind of see the gasp of the crowd going, oh my God, what do we have? I mean,
yeah, because again, even John Rice Plummee's starts as a really didn't seem like that kind of rust his first game when he was back at quarterback again. I was like, wow, this is. And again, his run when he started to run those first 2 drives, he really didn't have like a lot of command in his run. I mean, he didn't seem to really, take on anybody and push through, get 6-8 yards. break a tackle or two. And it
Yeah,
was, wow,
agree.
this is kind of this is scary.
I would say he was rusty. I mean, there was a lot of rust. You know,
Our offensive line too, was a little kind of, I guess, feeling each other out. That was,
well, I think the offensive line really got. I mean, we had over 400 yards rushing that. On third,
yeah.
which that was the one bright spot really on the offense was every running back was fantastic. I mean,
Oh,
RJ was as advertised. You had obviously even Johnny did well.
yeah, over 60 yards.
With what they used Johnny for. Penny Boone was as advertised, and of course, Miles Montgomery. To me, he's the real secret of the whole combination. To where that guy
Mhm.
runs hard, runs like he's upset at the field when he puts his feet down on it and picks up yards.
He's almost like another RJ.
Yeah,
Yeah, he runs like another RJ, which is nice. And again, with the big back and Penny, with Boone, that'll be a nice feature to add. Yeah, the running game did really well. And again, I think our line kind of settled down
yeah. I mean,
going after the first 2-3 series.
well, yeah. When you look at that, the line I thought did a good job because these guys were able to catch the corner time and time again. I mean, RJ was catching
Yeah,
the corner all night. Johnny was catching the corner. Then you had Miles Montgomery would either catch the corner or run right up the middle and bounce outside. And I mean, these guys are Penny went right up the gut one time, and it was a huge hole. And it was just like I said, the running game really showed. You know, who doesn't love the running game when you can control clock, control tempo of the game, everything.
yeah,
And on offense, I thought that just KJ just has to make sure that he had a good pass. When he threw that one pass over to Kobe Hudson, when it was kind of a 50-50 ball, he kind of gave Kobe the best chance to get it. Now
well, that was really kind of Kobe.
yeah, I said there are better cornerbacks in this league than no offense than that New Hampshire
Yeah,
had,
yeah,
but I think that was it was a well thrown ball to it was kind of up and out, and it really kind of gave Kobe the only real shot to get it because I think when he threw it, you saw whoever that cornerback was, he was back was to the to the line of scrimmage, like now you beat, you know.
no, yes, and I still think a third receiver still needs to kind of emerge. I don't know who it is. Like Xavier Towns did all right. Again, Kobe obviously did okay, but the third receiver, whoever's
You
out
don't
there,
think Trent Whittemore did well?
well, like I said, is he didn't have like a command performance against again a small school,
I don't know how many targets he got. I don't have the you're one that usually have the stats up,
Well,
but
his targets, he didn't get a lot of targets. Again,
yeah,
they didn't throw the ball much.
I guess he's known for his blocking, which I saw the one play late in the game to where you had RJ go up the middle, kind of bounce out to the right, and Whittemore's watching him. I'm like, dude, pick up a block.
Yeah,
You're known for pick up a block.
and that's also might be something that he had was what got him was it might just be a little rust.
Yeah,
It's again, he wasn't used much last year in the receiving game as it was. So again, first game out, he may have just kind of got caught watching as opposed to saying, "Oh, I've got to go. I've got a job still to do to block somebody here."
right. Yeah, I mean, all in all, for a first game, packed house. It was a very festive crowd out there. Even the students showed up. They looked great. I mean,
Yeah,
both end zones were packed. They were, really into the game as well. I mean, through pretty much through the third quarter when it was pretty much decided at that point. You had the students, I think, kind of hung around just because it's first game of the season, maybe, but they did a great job, really, supporting UCF on Thursday night. But I would say the offense really kind of, was as advertised of we're going to have a heck of a running team, and I think we do. We have four really fine, running backs,
yeah,
playing for UCF. I mean, KJ will have to get it straightened out. I think he will. I think it was just kind of a, one of those things you got to figure out that this is for real now. You are going to get hit, you know, things like that. I don't. The one thing I was a little cautious about with KJ, it was maybe with the JRP situation, is KJ had no problem going up and hitting people. He like on the old, quarterback draw or
Mhm.
the read that he would sit there and fake to the running back and then take off. And it's like, you know, I'm not I'm not really all that comfortable with the backup yet. Brown,
No,
but we'll talk about Brown here in a second. But yeah, Brown showed that he's a capable player. He's a little still a little green, I think, to where he needs a little bit more playing time. He did
yes,
fumble on a run, which
a
that's
lost fumble. Yeah,
not acceptable.
rushing. We had RJ Harvey 11 carries, 142 yards.
That's great. I mean, that's a great night.
Um,
I mean,
Penny,
that's over 10 yards a carry.
what's that?
Over 10 yards a carry.
12.9 yards a carry. Yeah, 13 yards. Almost. Yeah, he had an excellent night.
What about Montgomery?
Montgomery had 8 carries for 77 yards, just under a 10-yard average, 9.6.
Another nice night. Yeah.
Penny Boom, 7 carries, 81 yards, 11.6, and a touchdown. Again, all three of them had at least one touchdown. RJ had 2.
Okay.
And then you look after that, after those guys, it's not Johnny Richardson because he only had 7 carries for 40 yards. Now, still 5.7-yard average, but it was actually Jakari Brown had 7 carries for 60 yards.
Okay. With one fumble, right?
But he had a 30-yard long, so you think you take that 30 out of there, and so you had 6 carries for 30 yards, so about 5-yard average.
He had a nice run on that fumble.
Yeah.
He picked up 20-some yards, and all of a sudden there goes the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, this isn't high school, Chikuri. You gotta protect the ball.
No, yeah, I agree. I mean, KJ had 39 yards on 11 carries, so
Yeah.
and he even carried the ball twice. So
Okay.
we had 454 yards. I'm sorry, of total rushing yards. That's a new UCF record.
Yeah, it was a good night for the running game. Really good night. What was the final passing stats?
Final passing stats again: KJ Jefferson 11 of 14, 164 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception. The TDs he got there were what kind of just wheel routes that I think were busted coverages that New Hampshire didn't get. They just didn't get to it.
And then the bad interception he had.
Yes, and the bad interception. Now, Jakari Brown, he was, 4 for 8 for 21 yards?
Okay. I mean, he was pretty much under kind of just drop off passes to where, anywhere from 4 to, 6 yards out. I don't think he really went long with the ball once.
They showed nothing, really, in the passing
game. And that's a good point. I think it was kind of understood that UCF was going to show nothing. It was going to be a very vanilla game. And I think it was, right? I mean,
they ran the ball. They wanted to, show them nothing. So I guess you'll run the ball. So really it worked to a T then. Because if you look at the receiving yards, the 164 that KJ got, Jakari Brown got 21. So you're looking, 185 yards total. So under 200 yards. But again, nobody on the receiving end had more than 2 receptions.
Right. And not many targets.
No.
I mean, when you looked at it, you had like Xavier, I think, had 2 targets. One was the bad interception to him. And, it's one of those things to where, maybe they're working on that this week in practice, because I think Sam Houston's going to be a little bit of a better team than New Hampshire. And I'm not expecting to win by 50 points, but I am expecting to win, right?
Sam Houston they're better, but we'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah.
But again, Wintermore was only targeted twice.
Okay. Yeah.
He had a catch out of 2 targets. So
how many targets was Kobe?
Kobe had 4. Caught 2 of them.
Okay. So yeah, Kobe had 4. I think who is it? Johnny, he had a touchdown on a kind of little, fake one way, throw it back to him the other way, and he kind of sprinted for a touchdown. And then Miles Montgomery had the same type of touchdown as well. Well, yeah,
you remember he only threw the ball 14 times.
Okay, yeah, for
so it's wasn't really a lot of
yards or 140 yards, or how much was that?
Again, he was 164.
Okay.
but it's, again, 7 completions.
All right.
Now the defense was, I mean, and again, I know it was only New Hampshire, but the defense seemed to be a lot better, especially in the middle of it. A
Lee and
lot more
Ricky, yeah,
aggressive.
Lee Hunter, Ricky Barber were mid-season form already. I mean,
Yeah.
controlling that line. And you know who I was really happy with? He played later in the game, played a lot with that Jamal Johnson.
Yeah.
He really looked good. You know, I think we do have some. You know, Isaiah Nixon looked good. Malachi Lawrence looked good. Caven Call looked good out there. Deshaun Pace looked good. I mean, our defense really made a lot of plays. You
Very
know,
true.
and you know, we had interceptions. We had you know, there's this one Malachi Lawrence play where it was going to be a freight train sack. So it was just full, and he at the last second missed him. And it was like if that would have been a collision, it would have. I don't know if the New Hampshire quarterback would have gotten up.
Well, that was the sad thing about it, is we didn't record 1 sack all night. Now we had 7 tackles for a loss.
Yeah, you know, I think you had a couple guys. Yeah, I'm trying to get some of these names. Our cornerbacks, you know, let's see, Quad Bullard had a good game.
Yeah.
Ladarius Tennyson really did well, along with Mac McWilliams. That Mac McWilliams had a lot of really good tackle. I mean, his technique on tackling, especially on the, you know, the little dump off passes to where he was back in the backfield, wrapping and tackling. So that kid's a player.
Yeah.
You know?
Ethan Barr was a breath of fresh air at linebacker.
Right.
Yeah, we again, our offense, I mean, should I say our defense looked
Reminds
a
you a
lot.
little bit of old Jasinski back there.
It did. It reminded a lot of Savage Pat. You know, Cam Moore's even kind of grown up. You can tell, you could see
Right.
the really the maturity he's got in 2 years.
You
Again,
know,
lesser opponent, but
Andrew
again,
Harris looked good. You know,
no,
like Andrew Harris, you can tell next season's probably going to be a starter, flat
yeah,
out. I mean, a lot of these guys are really, you know, and I wouldn't say I was doubting, but I was just, you start to anticipate because these are all 4-star kids and, you know, high 3-star kids. You're like, when's this kid going to really kind of start showing out? And they are now. You know, they really are starting to show. You want to see them play more and more to get that experience because they're really turning into players, you know, on defense. Now, obviously, it was a, you know, FCS team. You know, Sam Houston will be a little bit tougher of a test, but
yeah.
very positive what I saw on Thursday night with our defense.
Well, you know, LeBlanc didn't get
I don't think he started. He didn't play at all, did he?
no.
I don't know what's going on with him. Was he injured when he came last year and kind of?
We're gonna see, you know, yeah. Is he injured? Is he? It's just.
I
It's
don't
yeah.
know. I saw him in the picture. You know, they had the lineman picture, the defensive lineman picture about 2 days before the game, and LeBlanc was in there, so he's here. Even, you know, Johnny Walker was there, but he was, you know, he's out. He's out
Oh, yeah.
at least at best till the end of the season. Like we may get him back for a bowl game if he gets back.
Now you look at 2 interceptions. Deshaun Pace, of course, was the big one, and really that was kind of like the turn of the game. You think about it.
Yeah, I thought Pace looked fantastic.
Yeah, because you know, he 37-yard return. We scored on the next play. And of course, Anton Jackson had one for 9, but that was kind of later in the game.
Yeah, and Quad Bullard even had a good game. You know,
He did. Well, Quad Bullard, you know, he's
Braden Marshall. That's another kid, Matt. To where Braden Marshall really tackled well, wrapped, tackled. You know, one of those guys was in the backfield when the ball's in the air, wrapping and tackling. You know,
yes,
this
yes.
stuff you just didn't see last year.
He had 4 solo tackles.
Yeah, and you know, so far with the defense, you know, give me a grade. Obviously, it was New Hampshire.
Yeah, I want to say for the New Hampshire game, the best grade, it's a toss-up between the defense, total defense, and our running game.
Okay.
But see, after that, though, then it kind of goes down.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
know,
Xavier
defense, obviously, when you only allow 3 points, that's an A grade.
Yeah, I mean, I would give a decent for the special teams because again, Xavier Townsend, I kept thinking he was going to break one.
Yeah,
what,
special teams.
26, 30-yard long return. Colton
know how
Boomer
that
made
is,
both
though. That's
his,
gotta really kind of, and that's one of those things to where those on special teams are gonna have to really watch film, because there are a couple of guys out of place to make that break, you know. You know how it is, when you're going back, you gotta be able to get in that lane to where you cut off a guy here or there, to where when Xavier Townsend comes off, off your back on a
yeah,
cut, he's gone, and it's one of those things to where you could tell his blocking still a little unsure,
no, I agree. I mean,
they're not really.
but again, you look at the punting game, the punting game had an average of 37.5 yards. But again, it doesn't really, that's kind of below what I want. He had a 41-yard long, but he also had a 34-yard punt, which again,
Is that the New Hampshire punter? Because it was a good punter.
no, that's our punter. That's
And New
McCarthy.
Hampshire had a good punter. That was another thing that John, because you were thinking like the New Hampshire punter was going to outkick his coverage. Because some
Yeah,
stuff, literally, he was kicking 50-yarders.
yeah,
And it was not outkicking the coverage, so it was high enough to where Johnny really had to wait for it, and I said that punter is what kept them in the game, New Hampshire.
yeah. Well, when he punted 10 times, Mark, and his average was 44.5 yards.
That's that's
Yeah,
really good, especially
yeah,
for
59-yard long.
an FCS punter.
Yeah,
He had a 59-yard. I remember that he boomed one time. It was like,
Sean Lahane. And I'm wondering how somebody didn't pick him up. How do you not pick him up and put him?
we also got a punt blocked, to where one
Yeah,
of those things to where Tennyson got in there, and maybe that's why you don't pick him up, because when he may have had too slow of a delivery, to where you sit there and snap it, and he kind of goes 1, 2, 3 kick.
yeah,
Tennyson got him one time.
yeah.
It's like it wasn't like they sent Tennyson every time. They sent him, I think, twice. Second time he almost got it. So the
Yeah,
guy
but
was a good punter if you gave him time.
yeah, I would say I'd give the defense an A, along with the running game an A. I would give the passing game, no offense, but I'd give it a C.
Yeah, at
And
best. See,
that's at best, because again, you don't have that one long pass to Kobe Bryant, which was the first one. I think the first completion by KJ. Our numbers, I don't even know if we have 100 yards.
well, he had
At least
an interception. And that pass he threw to Randy Pittman, Pittman was open against a Big 12 team. That's another interception.
Yeah,
Then you're getting into, the quarterback from last year.
problems, and again, you turn the ball over, and that's a recipe for losing.
Right.
But again, I would look at the special teams. I would say solid B, just for the fact that I think we had a really good return game. But again, I think our punting needs to be more consistent with in the 40s average, not 41 as a long. I think he had a 37.5-yard punt average. He needs a 40 to 41-yard punt average. That's what he needs.
Yeah, and it's that Mitch, or what's his name? I'll tell you real quick here.
Are you talking about our punter?
McCarthy. Mitch McCarthy is our guy, and he's like a freshman or a senior, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he should be, I don't know. I guess he never was really kind of pressured or anything, so it was kind of a dress rehearsal, and we did fine.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to give him an A, but he did good enough. He needs to keep kind of like he needs to do like that kid from New Hampshire. We need a couple 50-yard punts here and there. That's one of those things that really kind of, how it is.
Mm-hmm.
Past experience, even you and I know of. A punter can really help. It's like that extra defensive player.
Yeah.
And Mitch McCarthy needs to kind of turn into that.
No, I agree. And like I said, he has a little room for improvement. And I think that was one of our things last year, which kind of hurt us, was our punting game, because it was extremely inconsistent.
Right. No, I got you. I mean, let's quickly go over Colton Boomer.
Well, 2 for 2, but he had one that was close.
To where, 44-yarder, but still it's a 44-yarder.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like it was going anywhere. I think he just didn't compensate enough to keep it going left.
Yeah.
Because he was on the right hash mark and just kicked it straight. Because I'm gonna give him a break on that, because it still made it. But sometimes it didn't matter, and he kicked that thing would have gone 55 yards, and it was one of those kind of wedge kicks that he does, he just a lot of power and he just kind of bumps it and just floats and floats and floats and it gets over and that hit the net 44
Yeah.
yards out. That was a 5-yard penalty before that.
Mm-hmm.
It
No,
was 39-yard kick.
to see him make both of his kicks. But
Right.
again, we needed it just for his confidence.
Yeah, I think he's back. He did really well on kickoffs. Every
Yeah.
kickoff he had, he kicked out of the either to the 9 yard, 9 yards back in the end zone or out of the end zone.
Yeah, he did
Exactly
excellent.
what you want.
Well, did Reddick kick any of those
He
also?
did, and he couldn't get it past the. I think he got to the 2 one time, but every one of them they returned them.
Yeah, and
The
that's
5 and the 2, and it's like kid that has to get into the end zone, deep into
I
the.
agree. Let's wrap up with New Hampshire here.
Okay.
I want to say, yeah, the New Hampshire, was a good tune-up for us. I still think we've got some improvement but again, we have 2 days longer this week to work for Sam Houston. So that's, I guess, it'll be a 9-day preparation as opposed to just a 7-day preparation.
Right. I think we'll agree it's a good dress rehearsal win.
Yeah.
One of those things the kids got in underneath the lights, put the jerseys on.
And they got to do it in front of.
I was really happy with what I saw out of a lot of players. Some of these guys need to kind of catch up. One last thing about KJ Jefferson, he's known as a guy who gets better as the season goes on. So I'll cut him some slack in the first game that he didn't, and maybe was a little uninspired. I mean, obviously playing a souped up high school team, that's all they are, a really good high school team.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not really kind of dialed in because he doesn't feel like he really has to be.
Well, if you think about the team that in Villanova, who we whipped last year, won their conference.
Okay.
So, and again, we beat Villanova pretty well last year. Villanova wins the conference, and I want to say New Hampshire was somewhere in the middle.
Well, yeah, New Hampshire lost a few players. They lost their quarterback. The quarterback who played on Thursday was a pretty decent player for FCS, and they lost a running back who I want to say made the final 54 for the Raiders.
For the Las Vegas Raiders.
Right.
Yeah, interesting.
But okay, you want to move on to Sam Houston here?
Yes, Sam Houston is 1-0. Sam Houston won their first game 34-14 over Rice.
They beat Rice, which is in the AAC now, right? Is what you're saying?
They are one of our replacements.
That's shocking.
In our old conference.
Yeah.
So, Sam Houston, I was watching, their highlights before that we got on tonight. It was odd because they got their first touchdown on kind of like a broken play. The quarterback breaks containment, is rolling to his right, slings it 50 yards downfield where the receiver is behind the defensive back.
Yeah.
It's a touchdown, which, that can happen against anybody. If you get lazy on your coverage. And then their second score, when they got 14, was a pick six, which the Rice quarterback was on the opposite hash mark, decides to throw it all the way across the other side of the field. Their cornerback said, no thanks, and I'll take this back to the end zone. So you get that, and now you're down 14-0, and it's like, wow,
Well, yeah, I'm just looking up old Casey Keeler, the head coach for Sam Houston, and I was watching Gus's press conference today, and he's a little older than us. I don't want to sit there and give an age or anything like that, but the head coach, he, obviously he's got an 89-36 record there.
At Sam Houston?
Yeah, so not bad.
It's not bad.
Yeah, he's a 65-year-old coach. He played at Delaware, linebacker coach, or he's a linebacker, so I'm sure he's a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Which, hey, our offense has to get better, just because, and we'll see, I think this is a good test. Like we were talking about, you want to have a good test, we have to go on the road, against TCU.
Yes.
And maybe this is just that team can do that for us.
Well, what I was noticing was Sam Houston said everything kind of offensively runs through Hunter Watson, their quarterback. Again, he had 229 yards, 16 of 27, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but he was also the leading rusher, 14 carries for 57 yards.
Okay, because this is what Gus was talking about, and I was like, I don't remember him being he's a national championship coach. 2 FCS championships. One at
Oh,
Delaware and one at Sam Houston in 2020.
okay.
So Sam Houston was a FCS champion back in 2020.
I see.
Well, it means something. It means he's a good coach. If anything, guy who's winning championships, I don't care what division. If you go win a championship, even in the FCS, you got to be a good coach.
I know, I agree.
He didn't have his team ready, and like I said, seems to me he's more of a defensive-minded coach. Where what we're going to have to do is, really shore up. KJ is going to have to really kind of snap out of his funk that is his rust funk that he had last weekend. Luckily, like you said, it was 9-10 days before we play Sam Houston.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's going to have to be ready to go because
that's the advantage of playing on a Thursday night as opposed to Saturday nights. Now you get 2 more nights.
Yeah, they were at Rice, so they're used to being on the road.
Yes.
Because they're at us this Saturday, and like I said, I don't think they had a problem with Rice. They were up big in the first half. Right at halftime, it was like a 17-point lead they had on Rice. So it wasn't.
It was. Yeah, they were up on them. Really, and again, they jumped. As I said, you had the one long pass, and you also had the pick six. And again, they were up.
The notes here, I got Chase Bauer is the quarterback. He's a transfer out of Central Michigan. He played 18 games during his tenure with the Chippewas. Isn't that where? No, he's at Western Michigan or something like that, isn't he? Not Central Michigan. You know what I'm talking about? Who's the old Florida coach? Where's he at?
I thought he was at Central Michigan.
Okay. So if he is at Central Michigan, he's probably been, coached up pretty good. This Chase Bauer kid. He's
Jim McElwain, right?
What's that?
Jim McElwain?
Yeah, McElwain. If he was McElwain's old QB, I don't know why he's not there anymore. Is McElwain still coaching?
I believe so. Yeah.
I got no idea. But Chase Bauer came 18 game starter over there, or played in 18 games. So I would just consider that's a starter for 18 games. So he's got a little experience as well.
Oh, I agree.
And I guess we'll have to wait and see. And then
look at Sam Houston. They rushed, for 178 yards, so almost 200 yards. Oh, they threw for over 229, so they had a 4-yard night.
Is that Zach Herbeck or Hybeck?
For Sam Houston?
Yeah, I can't tell if that's HR or HI. Yeah. But he's a junior, a 5'9", 185-pound kid, so he's got to be probably pretty quick. And you got a lot of seniors on that offense.
Yeah.
So to me, you got a senior wide receiver, 2 senior wide receivers, senior tight end. The Lions seniors or juniors. This is a pretty well represented team of upperclassmen.
Yeah,
it's gonna be interesting. Like honestly, I should have probably watched a little bit of the Sam Houston game. I didn't even know it was going to be on. Yeah, I didn't.
We still recording. The clock has stopped.
Oh, it has. Let me hit resume because we are still.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Is. Can you see that clock up here?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know that was up there.
Like I said, so we may have stopped on what we were just talking about.
Yeah. I don't know how long it's been stopped, but nonetheless, let's move on.
So again, you got Hunter Wilson, 16 and 27, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and then again they have a slew of carries. They ran the ball, 46 times for 178 yards. Now, mind you, that's sub 4-yard average, so that's not really anything to write home about. But again, they still had 400 yards of offense.
Sam Houston did
Sam Houston did.
against the Rice. Oh wow, okay. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't know how good Rice is, right?
Yeah. Now their average was by their longest reception was a guy who Cuevas Humphreys, who again had one touchdown, but it was again that 67-yard bomb where he got behind the defensive back. The defensive back, stopped on the play and then he rolls out and then throws it behind him, and again he couldn't catch him.
Gotcha. Well, again, this is one of those games that we're gonna have to match at least match intensity with them. We should have better talent. I think we do, especially on the offensive line,
Yes.
running backs, things like that. As long as our defense is gonna have to put some pressure on that offense, especially on that quarterback.
Yes.
And like you said, last week we got no sacks. We're gonna have to at least get a couple this time.
Yeah. Well, again, we had 7 tackles for a loss, so that tells you a lot, also.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, and a lot of those, cornerbacks had tackles for loss. That's what I was talking about. Like,
Yeah.
you had the cornerbacks on each side that were, getting back there and wrapping and tackling. And that's kind of what you're looking for out of your cornerback when you have that kind of screen pass out there, to get out there, wrap it, and tackle it. And I never saw any kind of big runs by New Hampshire, but they do have, looks like a pretty quick, probably small. Actually, he's a 6'3" receiver. No, 5'9", 185-pound junior is the running back.
Yeah.
And that's Zach Herbeck or Zach Hybeck. We'll find out who it is. And I just got the Florida State Boston College game on, is the reason why I keep looking over there. But Boston College is up 14-0. Which is gonna be interesting. But we'll get through all the games, I guess, after we talk Sam Houston.
Yeah. But I look at with Sam Houston, they've got a running back. Besides, again, their quarterback got the most yards, but their running back, again, 5'11", 205. So he's about, his name's John Gentry. He's about I want to say RJ's size. So
Okay.
14 carries, 56 yards. Nothing really to write home about. He didn't have a score. The touchdown he did get, he got stuffed at the middle. Rice didn't have any containment, so he just kind of went around the end and bolts in the end zone. So
well, I'm seeing Sam Houston's primary strength. Sam Houston has relied heavily on the defense for the past few years.
Yes.
This season is no different. Okay.
And you can tell they got a defensive coach.
You got Gaither is returning his 4th season. I don't know who Gaither is. But Gaither is a linebacker, number 14, is 6 foot, 215-pound senior linebacker. So Gaither, I guess, is one of their players. And
well, their two big stat guys on last Saturday night was Caleb Weaver, a cornerback, and Trey Fields, a linebacker. So I want to say outside linebacker. So I don't know if it was just the scheme that Rice was running, maybe a lot of stuff to the outside. But Weaver had 10 total tackles, 7 solo, and Fields had 6 total, 4. But again, Gaither had 5 solos. So again, anything with the middle, I guess, was his.
Okay, well, we got potential problems here. So Sam Houston enters the 3rd consecutive season with a quarterback battle and will likely not settle on a starter. Appears they have. So, but I guess this kid they got from Central Michigan could be a potential problem, but they did win on Saturday. So
Hunter Watson is a potential. So let's see what they're saying. If you got 2 quarterbacks, you don't have one.
They're saying that they struggled in the trenches last year, in the last 4 seasons. So, I think our defensive line is going to have to step up a little bit, although they did quite well against New Hampshire. They're going to have to get a couple sacks this year, really kind of put some pressure on that quarterback. And I think we got a good enough back 7 who can make plays. you know.
Well, I think Sam Houston, looking at their defensive stats, they're better against the run than they are against the pass.
Okay.
So I guess that's kind of our
I don't know if
warm.
that's troubling or not, you know. I mean, we're a really good running team, right?
Yeah,
To I'm hoping that we can, you know, continue our success going into you know, TCU of being again, I have no problem being a run dominant team. Run dominant really helps your, you know, control the game, control of tempo, all that kind of stuff, you know.
but you know, another interesting stat, Mark, is Sam Houston gave up 7 sacks last Saturday against Rice.
And still won.
Yes, and still won by 20 points.
That must show how bad Rice is. That you
Yeah,
got
20
7 sacks and you lost by 20 points.
Yeah,
That's awful.
so like I said, that's really interesting. You know, I was kind of shocked about that one.
7 sacks, my word. And well, okay. So the offensive line's not good, even though they've got a couple seniors and juniors on that line. They're not good. So
Yeah,
that can show that hopefully not get injured, but we're gonna have to dominate that line on
yeah.
both sides.
But
you
we
know?
have the defensive line to dominate it.
Yeah, no,
Line still remains to be seen. I think the offensive line will take care of work also, and I think we should still beat Sam Houston. I don't know if we're going to beat them by 54 points, but
yeah,
I still think we can beat them by 30.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
Point win, you know, just as long as I don't want it to be, you know, we can't start that. The one thing I would say, you know, last Thursday, we kind of, like you kind of hinted, we started off slow,
very
right?
slow.
And we can't really start off slow against every week, you know, trying to
No,
find where we're at, because you don't want to start playing from behind when it, you know, when the schedule starts to get a little tougher.
I agree.
You know, we're going to have to be able to take off, put together drives, finish drives, and then hold on defense. You know, I mean, it's a
Yes.
long season, but we got to start doing that kind of. We got to start kind of instilling our will here as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could turn to a tough season pretty quick.
No, I agree. And like I said, but Sam Houston is fairly straightforward. You know, they do a lot of man defense, you know, in pass coverages, so that should help our receivers. But what that means is they, you know, aren't probably afraid to blitz, because if you got man coverage on the offense, it means you've got a guy around the box who will slip through the line to look to blitz KJ. So he might have a few hot, but again, if you can get somebody on a crossing route, that could go a long.
AJ's going to have to be accurate.
Yeah.
Flat out. You're going to have to be accurate, more accurate than you were last week.
Yes.
But if they're going to blitz all the time, you're going to have to be accurate, or you're going to have to be able to run the ball. You know, we got to get at least 3-4 yards every play. Like I said, you know, I don't see that being a problem. I really don't.
No, either.
The other team's giving up 7 sacks against a team like Rice, and still winning by 20. I don't. Did they have any turnovers that went for touchdowns? You see in the.
They had a pick 6.
Oh, okay. Well, so there's 6 or 7 of the 20 right there.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, and again, the one first touchdown was like a broken play. So with that right there, it was, you know, it was what it was. You know, you had 14 points, and again, to overcome 14 points on anybody is kind of a tough thing to do.
No, I agree. I agree.
Now again, they still lost by 20, which is 6 more than the 14 they kind of gave up. But Sam Houston, looking at them, they are very beatable.
They're ranked 129th in my notes. Yeah, out of, I don't know, 200 teams or whatever. They're 129.
Okay.
We're in the 40s, so
got it.
We got a few, you know, kind of a few spots to get to the top 25 ourselves, but
yeah, it should be a handily win for us.
Right. So go ahead and make a prediction, Sam Houston. What do you think?
I say we beat Sam Houston. 38-13.
Okay. I'll do you one better. I'll say 42-10.
Okay.
You know,
I do think we give up a touchdown and 2 field goals, but I think we beat them at 38-13. I don't think they really figure out our offense. I think.
Or let me say 42-10 or 42-17. Like I said,
okay.
I want to make sure that we don't give up any kind of turnovers ourselves. You know,
Yeah.
as what you're saying is like they like to blitz a lot. Sometimes that could cause a turnover.
Hmm.
Turnover for a touchdown. Fumble
Yeah.
6, pick 6, and we got to make sure that we have ball security starting now.
But again, with that, that also shows that that could be a big play for us if you beat the blitz, because everybody's man covered. You give Xavier Townsend or Kobe Hudson a crossing route, and they could go a long way.
No, I got you. But yeah, I mean, it's going to have to be accurate passing, and then like I said, if we can get the running game going like we did last time, so where that should help KG out a lot.
Yes.
Getting any kind of you're not going to sit there, and I guess you run the ball, they can't really blitz
No.
because you're going to run right past them, right?
In theory, yes.
So let's see what happens here. Okay. You want to talk over weekend games?
We
Start
can.
with Big 12, you want, and then we go to state after that, state
All
games?
right.
Or do you want to do state games, Big 12?
Oh, we do Big 12 first. We do conference first.
Okay. One that I was interested in this weekend, just kind of because it was a big play, a big game was West Virginia versus Penn State.
Yeah, that was kind of disappointing for the conference.
Yeah, I mean Penn State really outshined West Virginia. I was watching a little of the game. It was just a miserable game. I mean, pouring down rain.
Yeah.
To where obviously West Virginia is supposed to be a tough place to play. And I'm sure it is for some, but it wasn't for Penn State at all.
Well, if you look at Penn State, again, West Virginia is close to Pittsburgh, who used to be one of their rivals. So again, they probably know a lot of those kids. They probably recruit a lot of those kids. So it's probably one of those, tough place to play, but maybe not for them. Again, because they're kind of in the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
That's my best recollection. And again, usually you look at a Penn State and they're anywhere between third and sixth in the Big Ten. So they could be,
True.
maybe better this year. Again, not get away from our conference, but watching Michigan the other night against Mikey, they didn't look very well. Now they did win, but I think it was just because FSU, that means the West Coast FSU, Fresno State ran out of gas, I think. And Mikey also didn't play very well.
No, yeah, I'm just trying to look up some of the Big 12 football scores from this past weekend.
But I mean, I know a former Big 12, Texas won big.
Texas Tech won 52-51.
Over who?
Abilene Christian. That's not good.
That's a head scratcher.
And then BYU won big, 41-13 over Southern Illinois.
Well, the Slokies are not really known for their football prowess. Neither is the Fighting Illini for that.
ASU played Wyoming. I'm guessing at Arizona State because they beat them 48-7.
Okay.
You have Arizona played New Mexico. They won 61-39, which is not good. That's a future, opponent.
Yeah. How about Utah? What's their score?
Okay, give me a second. Let me find the Utah score. Utah over Southern Utah, 49-0.
Yeah, so that's the one right there. That's gonna be the toughie.
Well, look at Stanford, TCU. TCU had to go to Stanford.
Okay.
Watch some of that game, and Matt, literally, it was a barn in there. If there were 60 people inside that stadium, I'd be shocked. I bet there were like 50 people. It was awful. And TCU barely won, 34-27. So okay. You had West Virginia lose 34-12.
Yeah, that's at home too.
It's an old-fashioned whooping right there.
That's almost as bad as the Florida loss.
Yeah, we won 57-3, obviously.
Yeah.
Dion had a tough time. He had a last play of the game type situation to where some said it was
North Dakota?
Against North Dakota State.
The Fighting Sioux.
No, it's North Dakota State. I don't know if they're the Fighting Sioux.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Colorado escaped. against North Dakota State there with a 31-26 and a final play of the game type thing to where if there was any time left, man, it would have gotten interesting.
Yeah, I still think his son. They've got some players that we'll have to identify when we get to Colorado week.
Right.
I still think we can win that one.
Shadur or Shiloh. Shiloh's the linebacker. Shadur is the quarterback.
Yeah.
And good players,
Yes.
I'd take them. I'll tell you right now, I'd take them. Either one of them.
I agree.
You got Kansas. They played against Lindenwood.
Who?
Lindenwood. And that was a 48-3 thrashing.
In Lindenwood High School?
Yeah. Must have been.
Yeah. Well, since we're not playing Kansas or Kansas State this year, I'm not really worried about it. Until I guess if we have a chance to go to the Big 12 championship.
Well,
what about
Oklahoma State? Oklahoma State played South Dakota State, the Jackrabbits or whatever they are. 44-20,
All right. Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Cincinnati barely beat Towson State 38-20.
Yeah.
They look like they may be having a tough year this year. I think they got a new quarterback this year, and he's nothing special. I think he's the old Indiana quarterback.
Yeah.
But good luck to him.
Well, he's not Emory Jones, so.
No. Iowa State played North Dakota, won 21-3. He had Baylor 45-3 over Tarleton State.
Wow.
Houston got beat by UNLV 27-7 too. Yikes. And that was at home. That's a home loss. UNLV.
That's rough.
K-State 41-6 over Tennessee Martin.
Okay.
I already told you about the Texas Tech score. BYU, I told you. Arizona State. And so it wasn't a bad week. I mean, we had a bad loss for Houston.
Yeah.
I think everybody else was
Virginia.
Everybody else won.
Yeah. Which, I mean, they were supposed to win those. Just like
I agree.
The only one that's really kind of shocking is the Houston loss.
Yeah, they got beat bad by 20 points at home.
At home, yeah, that's a bad loss.
Fritz, the new coach from New Orleans or from Tulane.
Oh, he's the
Houston coach at Houston. When they got rid of what's the coach from last year? That was at West Virginia before that, and he got fired from West Virginia, and he wound up at Houston because he's friends with the big booster over there at Houston.
Yeah.
And Holgerson.
Yeah.
Dan Holgerson. And he got canned last year, so now they've got Fritz. And some seem to think that Fritz will turn it around quicker than you think. I'm like, well, we're not playing Houston anyway, so.
Yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, Houston got beat 27-7 at home. Oof. That's when you go, find something to do, I guess, for a couple of weeks until you start seeing some life out of the team.
No, I agree.
All right, you want to switch to state teams?
Yeah.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Well, I know South Florida beat Bethune-Cookman College, or I guess it's Bethune-Cookman University, so BCU. Okay. And they beat them pretty well, but like I said, it's BCU. They're a FBS. They're kind of a fledgling program as it is. I remember when, I guess was it Ed Reed that was going to coach here, but he realized that just the equipment they had was so just poor and improper. He said, I can't take the job.
Oh, really?
Okay. You guys need to put more money into this.
I'm just trying to see who else we got.
But yeah, South won big against. I know Florida State's playing now. You said they're losing, or they?
They're losing 14-3.
I had forgotten they were on tonight. I should probably when we get done, I'll probably turn it on and see what's what.
They're not doing anything on offense. Anything. Yeah. So, and they were losing 14-3 last I checked. He's 2 for 7 completions, 5 yards total passing. I mean, my word.
This is at home too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they beat him last
year. Let's be honest. Who didn't know this was going to happen? That Uiagalelei guy, whatever his name is, going to Florida State, that it was going to be a proverbial poop show.
Where'd he come from?
He was at Oregon State last year.
Okay.
He was at Clemson. Oregon State, he did
Right, yes.
okay, and he didn't win games for him, but he didn't lose games for him last year. I guess that's the reason why you look down because but
Yeah,
they're 14-3 losing right now to Boston College.
and that's not good.
And the kind of hubbub that they did all off season with their problems with being the best team in the ACC and all this. I mean, it's really starting to make them look silly.
Embarrassing. Almost as
Florida State,
embarrassing as the Florida loss to Miami.
let's get to that real quick. And we can always go back to the Florida State game as it develops, but that Florida Miami game was
I don't
just
know if
an
Miami's
embarrassment. It was an
good or Florida.
embarrassment if you're a
Yeah.
Florida fan.
I was embarrassed for him. I don't think Florida's that bad. I think Miami now has someone who can general that offense.
Well, they have a good quarterback.
Yeah.
That quarterback Miami has is a good player. He was at Washington State last
Yeah.
year.
And you can say what Chris Tobel did is he got rid of a lot of the kids that, Coach Manny Diaz of the Diaz brothers got
Bill Scarface reference there.
yes, he got rid of a lot of that dead wood that Diaz had, and he's filled it up with a lot of the kind of guys that he wants. So I think it's only week one, so I don't think Miami fans should really get too. Yeah, it's a big win. It was at Florida in Gainesville, which is a tough.
The dishwashers and the parking valleys unite.
Yeah, so they but if they can string it together, and again, if you look at their schedule, Mark, it's not really that tough.
No, it's not. That's
why they're friendly schedule.
I think you and I talked a little bit about this game after the game on Saturday. I think they're now one that you've got to say is a favorite to win the ACC finally.
Yeah, they don't play Clemson, and their toughest one, I think, in my opinion, is like Georgia Tech on the road.
And that will be a tough game.
Either late October or early November.
I mean, Georgia Tech won easily against Georgia State this weekend.
Yeah.
Brent Key's got that team playing solid defense and offense.
Yeah.
That's another team that's got 18 starters back from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And they're doing quite a bit better. But I don't see Miami having a problem. Where does Miami play Florida State at this year?
It's in Miami.
I could count that as a win.
Miami only lost to them by 7 last year, and that was with their second-team quarterback. Or I guess the kid, when they finally fired the one kid they had, or sat him down and put the young kid in, and then he got injured in the game. I think that Tyler Van Dyne or whatever his name is, he had to come back and play.
Yeah, and he's gone now, isn't he?
He's gone. I think he's with Fickle up in Wisconsin.
Gotcha. Okay, so he moved on. All right, so he didn't graduate. He moved on.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah, FSU just picked up a first down. They're at the 5. It's about 43 seconds left in the half. 14-3. So if they can punch it in right before halftime, going into half 14-10.
It's an improvement.
There is some life, I guess.
Yeah, it's an improvement.
They had 4 total yards in the first quarter. 4 yards.
Yeah, that's
probably getting it rolling now, but it's like, wow.
That's rough.
But they got 2 timeouts, 43 seconds. Let's see if they can punch it in here. Who else played this weekend? But I was watching.
I didn't hear about the FIU game or FAU or.
I didn't care. Even the South Florida game, I didn't care.
I just saw South Florida had beaten Bethune-Cookman University.
Right. Yeah. Who cares? No offense.
Well,
I like Bethune-Cookman, but.
Yeah, but I mean, South Florida got a cupcake to play.
But South Florida's doing what we used to do. Call Bethune-Cookman for game 1. And I think we played Bethune-Cookman 2 years ago and beat them so bad. It's like, stop calling them. I mean, yeah, they could use the money, but it's not doing anybody any good.
But what you miss is their halftime show.
Yeah, it's a good show.
They have an excellent halftime show. So that's what I miss about the Bethune-Cookman.
Who's that cornerback, Brendan, that we had? Number 20?
Number 20 for us?
Yeah. A good cornerback. This back in 17-18. Remember he blew his knee out against Bethune-Cookman or something like that one year. And
Bam Morris?
Bam Morris. Yeah, Brendan Morris. Is it Brandon Morris?
Yeah.
Brandon Moore.
Brandon Moore, yeah. Bam Moore.
Yeah, Bam Moore. So, those kind of
That was
things
a big
happen.
loss.
Oh, yeah, I'm just watching this game. Wide open, Matt. Wide open out route to the
I mean,
flag, and Unga Galale, whatever his name is, overthrew him.
mm,
All by himself. All by him. All you gotta do is just pitch it to him.
yeah. Well, easier said than done.
3rd and goal. 4th and goal. So they're going in the locker room 14-6. It's like, you got a problem with quarterback.
Yes, they do. Which, I guess that's where Norval's going to earn his money. Is he going to be able to get this kid?
So
play
Miami
well.
looks like to be a contender this year. Florida does not. Florida looks like, I don't know who they're playing next week.
They've got a
check
like
real
a
quick.
like a Samford. They've got a really easy one, and they play Texas A&M.
Yeah, but I don't see Florida winning. I don't see them going to a bowl again.
Yeah, and if they don't, they're probably going to lose Napier.
Well, the thing is now it's not good for us, is Matt. We now have to go into Florida and win.
Yeah,
If we're going to be a team that's a contender this year, we have to go into Florida and win. And that means probably for Napier at that point he gets fired.
well, if he loses to us, Mark, if he loses to Miami and us in this first month, he'll be going by game 5.
Yeah, I mean, I'm tabling through here the SEC pages. I got the Gators almost second to last page.
And I tell you, that would be a really big win for us to go into Gainesville and get a W.
They play Samford.
Yeah. Okay. There
That
you go.
should be a win. That's a win. And it's Texas A&M, Mississippi State, and us.
Yeah.
Are they good enough to beat Mississippi State at Mississippi State? We'll find out. But
Well, yeah.
they're on the road at Mississippi State, and then they're off a week before they have us.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna get their best, but if we're gonna be anything this year, we're gonna have to be able to prove that we go into.
Well, if they're 3-1, I don't think the expectations are that much. Especially what if Miami's 4-0? They're 3-1. It depends on
Yeah, but that game was never a game. Florida was never in that game.
No, I agree. Florida's not a top 12 team right now.
No, yeah, Miami
at all.
has shown they're one of the top teams.
Yeah, Miami, in my opinion, is the best team in the ACC right now.
Yeah, because Clemson, boy, we were watching that game, and that was just embarrassing.
Yeah,
Georgia just took it to them.
and you have the Clemson fans starting to get tired of Dabo Swinney.
Well, I think Dabo Swinney, and not going into the transfer portal, he's going to have to change
That's what they're most tired with.
his tune. That he's going to have to start figuring out kids to get from in the transfer portal.
Different game.
Yeah, he's
you catch up. It's a different game now.
Yeah, I think he's trying to hold on to old ways, and it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was an ugly game. That Clemson game. So it showed Clemson, Florida. These are teams that are left behind. And back to the Florida game real quick. You and I have several friends that are Florida fans.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always the one kind of sticking up for, Napier. Well, no, you got to give him time. This is 3rd year, right?
Yeah.
And after what I saw against Miami, it's like it may be time to.
Your seat is hot.
I guess we got to wait and see how this. And I got no beef here, but it might be time to kind of move on from billion. And it's a $35 million check you have to stroke this guy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is who do you get?
I've heard, Matt. I've heard. I don't know if you've been hearing this, but I've heard. Obviously those old Gator friends that we have, that they want to get Steve Spurrier, who's in his mid-70s.
He's too old.
Interim coach to where they can find somebody. It's like, okay, he might be able to do that, but you might get I don't think it's his problem.
I think Spurrier would do that. He would not go back into especially if they're like a 1-3 or 0-4 team. He would not.
Right. And some of these kids don't really kind of know Spurrier. They don't know kind of, he's a good coach. A guy can coach flat out.
I agree.
But I don't see Spurrier. I just don't see it happening. So then, but I've also heard, Matt, the crazy notion of Urban Meyer.
Yeah, that'd be interesting too.
Would you see Urban Meyer stalking that sideline one more time? I don't see it happening, but
I think Florida fans would take him back.
Well, Urban Meyer, his old way, it doesn't work anymore.
No,
He used to
I
go in
mean,
there and drill fear into some of these kids because they knew they couldn't go anywhere. So it was
yeah,
like my way or I'll burn you down, kid type thing. Remember? And he
yeah,
can't do that anymore. That kid will be gone. By the eighth game, he'll just go sit out somewhere and go somewhere else. That you got to coddle these kids a little bit more. These kids are getting paid now. It's a different situation. It's almost with the Billy Napier. It's like the best is like, well, you know what you do? Give him some more time. You know,
Well, again, you and I talked about this, Mark. Jim Harbaugh, who's the defending national champion head coach, after his first 3 years, he was 0-3 against Ohio State, and he was 1-2 against Michigan State. Their two biggest rivals.
right?
Again, anywhere else that would have
Took him
fired
10 years. Took him 10 years to win a
years.
national
Yeah.
championship.
And last year was kind of an odd year.
10 years and a lot of money and a lot
Yeah.
of cheating. I mean, and hey, look, I'm not calling anybody a cheater, but there are many out there saying that that's a tainted national championship. That's
He stole signals.
well, yeah, and it's a completely different game than what it was back when we were kids when the NCAA rolled into town. But yeah, they're saying that it's a tainted national championship, but it took 10 years.
No, no, yeah. There, it's
So,
a
you
new
know,
world.
yeah, I don't know if you're going to give him 10 years. I mean,
No,
he'd have to start showing something in the next 2 years, but you're not going to give him any kind of extension, you know. 'Cause
no.
I stopped watching that when it got to 41-10. I think I said, all right, this game's over. And
Well, that's where it kind of ends. I stopped watching when they scored at halftime and made it 24-10. That's when I said Florida's not stopping anything here.
that
And
freshman phenom get in.
yeah, he actually moved the ball real well.
Okay,
Yeah,
so how long do you wait till you put him in?
yeah.
I mean, I guess you wait till I guess you wait and see. Okay, can Mertz do anything? But by third, fourth game, it might be time.
No, I agree. He played fairly well. So again, Miami didn't let off the dogs. They kept their first team. They were looking to trounce them.
Well, that is, man. That's we're going after the same recruits, so Miami's going to do that.
Yeah,
And
and it's a rival too.
right. So yeah, Miami. Yeah, I mean, I wonder when Florida has to go down to Miami now.
Yeah,
But not pretty. Anyway, we've got about a minute until you want to wrap up. Anything else you want to say about?
No, I think this week again, Sam Houston will probably show us a little more about the passing offense. If it improved over the week, but again, we have to improve in the offensive game and the punting game going into TCU, in my opinion.
We got to be able to throw the football.
And keep the running game strong.
Yeah, keep the running game strong, and be able to throw that football. And otherwise, if we don't work that out, it's going to get be a long year. KJ Jefferson was that guy.
Yeah.
You and I even spoke about it a little bit. That Mikey would be a senior as well.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe he had a ceiling that Gus saw. And
Yeah.
everybody talks about how KJ is the perfect quarterback that that Gus wants. Well, we got to see it.
That's it.
I'm not down on KJ yet, but this has got to happen here sooner or later.
And pretty quick.
Yeah, pretty quick.
Well, that's it for me.
All righty. Go ahead and wrap up.
This is Knightspeed. I am Matt Johnson.
And this is Mark Johnson.
And I'd like to say good night, and we'll see you next time.
Go Knights.
Go Knights. Charge on.